Welcome to the Texas High School Football Coaches Show on Lone Star Gridiron. I'm Chris Daly, and it's my belief that the men that make up the fraternity of Texas high school football coaches are much more than a bunch of thick-necked guys with whistles. They do so much more than teach technique and the X's and O's of football. They take young boys and change them into young men of character. They get kids to believe in themselves, to trust others, and to put others ahead of themselves. Texas high school football coaches are unique in how they impact the lives of these athletes as well as the generations those kids touch. In this show, I sit down with a different Texas high school football coach each time and learn about them. Not their record, not their on-field accomplishments, but who they are and what they believe and what it means to be part of the greatest sport in the greatest state. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Lone Star Gridiron Texas High School Football Coaches Show, Season 4, Episode 22. My guest today from Pittsburg, but not Pittsburg, PA, Pittsburg, Texas, is Coach Brad Baca. I will introduce you to him right after this. Hey, I want to give a big thank you to this season's title sponsor, Mecca Sportswear, where they are all about celebrating achievement. They're honored that so many high schools, colleges, and universities have chosen Mecca's products to represent their institutions. Mecca supplies you with the very best in custom letter jackets, chenille letters, patches, blankets, banners, pins, certificates, and much more to motivate and celebrate achievement in athletics, academics, or the arts. They create high-quality custom awards that will fit your budget. To see why so many great schools around Texas choose Mecca Sportswear, call Sherry Armstrong or Billy Armstrong at 210-651-6592. Mecca Sportswear, the premier suppliers of letter jackets and awards for over 40 years. If you're looking for a quick and easy way to raise a bunch of money for your sports team, 99 Pledges is the best way for football teams and booster clubs to raise the most money with the least amount of effort. Donors can donate online. Each player gets their own donation page that they can share with their friends and family all over the country, like grandparents in Florida by email, text, Facebook, or any of the social media outlets. By going online with 99 Pledges, it's easy to spread the word about your fundraiser, keep everyone involved and informed. Because of this, 99 Pledges has seen teams raise over $30,000. And teams like the Katy Tigers have exceeded their fundraising goal. That's the best part. Teams keep an average of 95% of what they raise. Players don't have to go door to door or track down donations. They can save all that energy for where it counts, on the gridiron. Check them out at 99pledges.com. They are an excellent organization. You're going to be so glad that your next fundraiser is through these guys. All right, everybody, join me in welcoming Coach Brad Baca from Pittsburg to the show. Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Chris. I really appreciate you having me. I'm excited to sit down and visit a little bit.
Nice. Well, first thing I have to ask you about is this football family, the Bacas, because, when I'm talking to people, I say, oh, yeah, I'm interviewing Brad Baca, and they're like, Brian Baca? Or Eddie Baca? Who is
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Explain that a little bit.
Well, when I got the job here at Pittsburg 4 years ago, there was a lot of confusion because I hired my dad, who is Eddie, who has coached in Texas for 35 years, who I played for. And then I'm the oldest of 5 boys, and Brian is my youngest brother, whom I'm 14 years older than, and he was actually a junior at the time and came and he played quarterback for us. So I was the head coach, my dad's the DC, and then Brian was our quarterback. And so, man, that was such a wonderful year in 2015, being together with both of those guys. And I think we've got it mostly worked out now in East Texas. Everybody knows who's who. especially now that Brian's playing quarterback at ETBU and doing that. So, but no, it's been an absolute blast, and we've had a great time here at Pittsburgh.
No, I bet. So, I guess that leads right into what my normal first question is, was your discovery of football, but it sounds like your discovery was through your dad.
That's exactly right. Dad was a coach. I can remember growing up, hanging out in locker rooms. The first one I can think of was Klein. He was coaching at Klein, and we were living in Spring, and I can remember being there, being a Bearcat, and then shortly thereafter we were at Galena Park, and I can remember rooting for the Yellow Jackets, and then just made our way around Texas, and it just got in my blood, and I fell in love with football specifically, and man, here we are.
Definitely. Cool. So, talk about you as a player. Where'd you play? Things like that.
Okay. So, when I graduated from Pilot Point. My dad was the head coach and athletic director there, and we had a great year. We went 11-3 my senior year. Got beat out by Sonora in the semifinals, and then I had a scholarship to go play at the Air Force Academy.
Nice.
And I played quarterback there for Fisher to Berry, and for 2 years. Really, really enjoyed that, and then just realized that engineering was a great idea and was fun. And my grandpa was an engineer, electrical engineer at NASA, and I thought I was gonna kind of go do that. And man, I just got up there and I said, you know what? I want to be a coach. Nice. And I said, the best way for me to do that, I need to get back to Texas. So I transferred to Sam Houston State. And played for Ron Randleman, and actually Tom Herman was my special teams coordinator, and Craig Niver, who's the safeties coach at Texas now, was my position coach. So transferred to Sam Houston, redshirted that first year, and then that my junior year we went to the semifinals again. Dustin Long transferred in from Texas A&M, really sparked our team. Had a great next couple of years at Sam, graduated, and then got my first job at Brownsboro. But had a great playing career in high school and then in college. We got to play quarterback, like I said, at Air Force, and I played running back when I transferred to Sam Houston after that redshirt year as a safety. But just really, really got to see, both sides of it. Got to go to Colorado and experience that Mountain West Conference, and then came back to Texas and played in the Southland Conference, and just had a real blast playing college football.
Nice. Well, I was a lumberjack, so I won't hold that against you.
Well, my dad's a lumberjack too, so we managed to not kill each other on the Battle of the Piney Woods weekend, but that's all right.
Nice. So coming out of college, you knew you wanted to be a coach. Take me job by job from your very first job out of college up to today.
Okay. Well, I sent out about 50 resumes as I was going through student teaching there at Huntsville ISD. And, I just knew, I want to be a varsity coach. And that was my goal. I said, I want to get, if I can get a varsity job right out, man, wouldn't that be cool? And sent about 50 resumes out. And the one that hit was, came back, got a call from a guy named John Settle. He was the head coach at Brownsboro at the time, and went up for an interview. And 2 or 3 days later, he called me and offered me the job, and that was it. That was my first job. I was the running backs coach and coaching track and baseball at Brownsboro for Coach Settle back in 2006. And we went 10-4 that year, and I was thinking, man, this coaching thing is easy. We went all the way to the quarterfinals and got beat by Salina, but I spent my next 2 years there. So I was there for a total of 3 years at Brownsboro, coaching running backs and quarterbacks. And the Tyler Chapel Hill job opened up, and a guy by the name of Thomas Sidney got that job. And I was living in Tyler at the time, and so, I thought, hey, chance to, kind of learn a new system, get a little bit closer to my house, and see what that's about. So I interviewed with him for a wide receiver's job, and I was able to get that and got the head track job along with it. And that first year with Coach Sitton at Chapel Hill, we went 5-5, and really started to lay down the culture. And then the next year, we really had a lot of great players coming back, and we knew we were going to be good, but we ended up going 13-2 and getting beat by Henderson in the state championship. Well, all those kids were juniors that year, so we knew, well, we got a really good chance again next year. And we ended up going 15-0 and beat Alvarado in the state championship 20-19. And it was just an awesome time, going 28-2 in the course of 2 years. It was just a blast and a blessing. And so after that, that was my third year there. Our offensive coordinator left and got the head coaching job at Jacksonville, and Coach Sitton promoted me to offensive coordinator. And had 3 really good years there, just kind of growing and learning, what it was all about, really coordinating an offense and calling plays on Friday nights. And that was a process. It was tough at first, and there were some growing pains there, learning really how to do it. And Coach Sitton was great as a mentor. We worked together well. I coached the quarterback, and he was the wide receivers coach. So we kind of got to really work hand in hand, and he was very instrumental in how I learned how to break down film and create a game plan and how to call plays and so a lot of that I really attribute to him to this day. And I was not looking for a head coaching job, and in my 6th year there at Chapel Hill, I was enjoying coaching with Thomas and enjoying the kids of Chapel Hill. And I just got a call one day out of the blue, and the idea was I interested in being a head football coach, and I was caught off guard, but the answer was yes, and I went and interviewed. Consequently, we had scrimmaged Pittsburg the year before, and we had done really well against Pittsburg, and somebody remembered that. And I went up to interview. Met the superintendent, met the school board, and just really saw that it was a place that had great potential. And fortunately got the job offered to me, and the rest is history. And we're here today. So, it's been a unique, I feel like I've been coaching a longer time than I really have, because, I was a ball boy since I was 8 years old, and with my dad, and played high school football and then played college football, and then now I've been coaching. So it's like I've kind of just been doing this my whole life. So, I don't feel like I'm going to work every day. I feel like, I'm just having fun and enjoying these kids and enjoying the people of Pittsburgh. So.
Nice. So, if you could, when there's success, you see like a feeding frenzy of assistant coaches going to other places. Talk about that balance, because now as a head coach, you have to worry about things like that. How do I keep my staff together if I win a title?
You're exactly right.
Talk about that a little bit.
Well, there's when your staff gets hired and they get promotions, it's really, I take that as a compliment, and I really do enjoy that. At the same time, it is hard to keep your staff intact, when there's success, because those guys get more opportunities. And so we've really had to be really almost take an aggressive approach as far as, when somebody leaves, it's been more of, okay, we'll post the job, but at the same time, I've got a list here of guys that I'm going to aggressively recruit. And that's really where I found most success, is if you've got some guys, you just need to go after them and then do all you can with the help of your principal and your superintendent to make that situation where they can't say no. And there's certain positions, your coordinators, and, if you don't have a coordinator that is also, if you can get a coordinator that's also a strength and conditioning guy, then you try to really go get that and, use every card you've got, as far as with the administration, to try to play to get them the most money that they can get in the best situation. But you really just got to have a few core pieces. You got to have a great strength and conditioning guy. And then you got to have, if you're not going to call it yourself, you got to have at least the other coordinator that you don't really have to worry about. And if you are going to call it yourself, you have those two guys. If you're not going to call it, then you better have two good coordinators and a strength and conditioning guy. And you do whatever you can do to go secure those spots. The other part, what I've really found out is you don't need to be a guru, or you don't need to be somebody that has been around football your whole life to be able to coach this game successfully. You just really got to have a heart for kids and be able to teach. And if you can find a high character person that loves kids, has a positive attitude, I don't care if they just came out of, selling insurance or doing this. If you can find those people that are invested in your town, and they have those things, they can be a great coach. And we've been really surprised by some young guys that maybe came from different professions that have really excelled here at Pittsburg because they're invested in the community, either because they're from here or they're around here, and they love the game, they love kids.
Nice. So it sounds like between your experience and what you're saying there's been a debate going around in coaching. Not really a debate, but just kind of a belief that you need to go put in your hours at the junior high level and learn to become a valuable and attractive coach for a varsity program. What's your philosophy on that?
I think that the junior high is a really great place to learn work ethic, to learn, the inner workings of what happens on Friday night to make everything work. I absolutely agree with that. I think if you can start there and really manage, maybe there's only 3 or 4 of you and you got 70 kids. That's tough to do. If you can understand, hey, I've got to be the equipment manager, the trainer, I've got to plan practice, I've got to set everything out, I've got to do all this stuff, and you have to figure out how to make all that work, and then you got to also break down film and learn how to break down film for the high school coaches. I think that is a great place to start. And another thing I tell young coaches is some of these younger guys that have gotten into the profession think that they're going to have a huge impact on, let's say they're hired as a junior high coach, or let's just say they're hired as a varsity coach, as a young varsity coach. Uh-huh. Sometimes those guys expect to have a huge impact on the game plan.
Right.
And what I tell them is a huge impact from a first-year coach or a second-year coach is if the head coach or coordinator takes one idea that you put out maybe every couple of weeks. That is a huge impact. But that goes into just what you're saying. Pay your dues, go through, the biggest thing you can do is be a great assistant coach. And if coach says, hey, we're going to do this, you go do it. And that, if you work hard enough and you are diligent enough and you really care, you'll get your shot. And when you get your shot, that's when you can make all these decisions and you can run all these different things that you want to do. But I think, that's it. I totally agree with that. Start at the junior high, pay your dues, learn the game of football, learn how to use huddle, learn how to use the breakdown, and then start to really shape. Because the longer I'm in this, the more I know that I don't know.
Right.
And I promise you that's the truth. So absolutely, start at the bottom, work your way up. You'll be better for it when you get there.
Yeah, I tell you, that's probably the surest sign of wisdom, is realizing the things you don't know.
That's right. I thought I knew some back then, and now I know, man, I really didn't know anything. And so just always continue to learn. And that's a matter of fact, I'm going to the Piney Woods Clinic, here in a couple of hours, and just going to keep learning. Just try to learn, and you never know what you're going to pick up from somebody else.
Nice. And you also mentioned in hiring coaches, coaches with a good work ethic, with a good heart and focus on kids. When you see a lot of young coaches, they come out and they want to focus on the game, and somewhere along the line it has to transition to kids to get winning programs. So how do you instill that in a coach?
One of the things that I talk about in the interview process is it doesn't matter what you know. Mm-hmm. It only matters what that young man on the field knows. And I try to say, just explain to them that, I've seen a lot of coaches that can get on the board and can X and O better than anybody. And it just, they can clinic talk it. It's beautiful, but you get them out on the field and the kids don't know what to do.
Right.
And so if you can, football is a simple game and people like to, make it more complicated than it is. It's a simple game. You got to be able to block and tackle.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to do that at a high level for 4 quarters or overtime or whatever it takes. And so the main thing is, how do I get that kid over there to trust me to be able to do exactly what I tell him to do on a Thursday and a Friday night? And it doesn't matter what offense you run. If you're a wing tee, if you're slot tee, if you're spread, that doesn't matter to me. You got to be able to motivate that kid and have him believe in you and have him trust you that you're going to do what you say and you care about him more as a person than as a player. And if I can find a coach that understands that, man, I'm hiring that guy on the spot. Because, like I said, if you were loading trucks at Lowe's or if you're an insurance salesman, but and you got your degree and you love kids and you have a passion and you have a great work ethic, I'm going to hire you over this guy that can X and O with me all day long, but I really don't know if he's got a great work ethic or if he's a high character guy. I'm going to hire the guy with less experience every time because that's what it's about. It's about how do I get this guy to run through a brick wall for 48 minutes. And it's not about X's and O's. It's about that kid knowing if you're genuine or not, and if you got great work ethic, and if you're going to prepare them. And so that's what I look for in a coach.
Nice. And in this time of social media where the perfection of, I guess the view of the perfect person is everywhere online, how do you get these kids not only to believe in you and your system, but more importantly to believe in themselves, believe they can do the things? How do you instill that?
That's a great question. And, we talk about it all the time with our kids. Social media can be a tool for them. It can be a way to be encouraging to other people, to shed a light on our program in a positive way. But at the same time, we have to be real with them and just say, you know what? You're going to see things out there that are negative. You're going to see guys getting offers that you say, why didn't I get that offer or this and that and the other? And the main thing that we teach them and kind of encompasses social media and then also competing on Friday night and working out during the week is you do the best that you can do. You be the best you can be. And that's all you can ever, don't ever compare yourself to somebody else. And I think that's what, our kids have a problem with. Is they look on Twitter and they see, I've got this offers or I've got, and I don't have any stars by my name. And there's that envy and they don't know how to deal with that a lot of times. And some of them, it gets them really depressed. And so it's a constant battle to, tell them that, hey guys, you're not competing against that other guy for these stars. And what you need to do is you be the best teammate you can be. And it's really great when guys like Dabo Sweeney come out and talk about things like that, and college football can just really reiterate, hey, you compete on Friday nights, and you work in the weight room, and you be the best teammate you can be. And it's really a constant message that we have to give to them. It's every day during athletics, letting them know it's not about us, it's about our team. And it is just a constant battle, and it's great when they realize it because you can kind of see, because I'm on Twitter and I follow all my guys, and so I see everything that they do. And when you can kind of start to see your words come out in them through their Twitter posts and the things that they retweet, it's really awesome. When you see them retweeting guys like Inky Johnson and just inspirational stuff and how they're being positive to other, when they're able to be happy for other guys that get offers, hey, congratulations, my quarterback is saying this to maybe some other kid from another town. Congrats, man. That's really cool because then you're saying, okay, they're getting it. It's not just about me let me be happy for this other guy. You know, if somebody else gets an offer, hey, congratulate them. You know, we want to be excited for them, and then celebrate with your teammates when your buddy gets one too.
Amen. I want to shift gears a little bit. You've been all over the state, whether as a player or coach. Talk a little bit about the different regions. I know you're not going to put any of them down, but talk about what you see as differences in the regions.
Okay. Well, I've been in East Texas as a coach for 13 years, and you know, I truly believe right now we're in District 6-4A in Division 2, and I think it's the toughest division in 4A Division 2 in the state. Mm-hmm. Pleasant Grove, Gilmer, Spring Hill, Liberty Isle, and ourselves, and the competition is really fierce in East Texas. And there's not a week where you ever circle that you say, oh man, okay, well we can take it easy this week. And it doesn't matter if you're playing a 3A or a 5A. The coaches out here are tremendous. I think, you know, all coaches that I coached against this year in all 14 games, I think every one of them could coach at the college level. I mean, from an X and O standpoint, from an energy standpoint, from being kid magnets to running an entire program, they've all got it. So you're going to face great athletes in East Texas. You're going to face great coaches. And so that's my experience as a coach is strictly in East Texas. Now I did play at Del Rio. Mm-hmm. I also played at Elgin in the Austin area. And I think what you find is really it's becoming more, you know, as far as the regions, you know, whether you're Dallas and Pilot Point or everybody's kind of shifting to kind of the similar things. You know, the slot T stuff that we see at Pleasant Grove is kind of a rarity. We see a lot of spread. And I think just by going to AT&T on championship weekend and seeing the level of play, there's great coaches across this entire state. Yeah. And it doesn't matter if you're at Canadian or if you're at Cuero or wherever you're at. The thing I noticed that's just through and through about the state is that our coaches are amazing, our players are amazing, and it's hard. It's hard to compare the different regions, even though I've been to all of them, Houston area and all that. It's just, you know, you may have different you know, areas like, well, East Texas, for example, we have, you know, these kids out here, they really just love football. You know, that's one thing I really noticed. They, you know, in a lot of these towns, and they play everything, you know, so whereas, you know, we have a lot of 4As and 3As and 2As, the kids play everything. You may go to DFW and it's more specialized. These kids just play football. These kids just play basketball. So I think what's neat about East Texas is you got a lot of kids that are playing all the sports. And so they just kind of go from sport to sport, and it's really neat. You know, you go watch, you know, like basketball season right now, I'm seeing all of our football players compete against, you know, PG's football players, but they're just on the court now. And then they'll go to the track, and then they'll go to baseball. Right. So I think East Texas, there's a lot of smaller schools. You get to see that. DFW, there's more specialized. Same thing as Houston and the 6A areas. But, you know, I've seen the same thing is consistent through everywhere. You've got great coaches that care about kids, and that's what's so wonderful about our state. That's what's so wonderful about Texas High School Coaches Association. It's the largest association of coaches in the world, and they really support us. And I think that's a large part of why you see, you know, 4 Texas high school quarterbacks, you know, in the NFL playoffs. You know, because we do coach in the greatest state for Texas for high school football, and it definitely shows in those next levels.
Most definitely. And speaking about those coaches, you guys have an often thankless job. You work long hours. It's hard work. A lot of people don't see what happens on the late nights, the early mornings, the weekends. So what is it that gets you up each morning to keep doing this?
That's a great question, and I appreciate you bringing that up. And you know what it is? It's the relationships with the kids. Mm-hmm. You know, when you first get to a job, you don't know anybody, and as you get to know these kids, you really get to see into their lives. And when you connect with the young man and you kind of see he's struggling at home, all of a sudden you realize that your job just turned into a little bit of a different job. And so when you're able to shift that, and I think it really helps when you have kids of your own. You know, before I had my own kids, it was a little bit different relationship. It was, you know, you see him more as a player and not as much as, hey, I'm really, you know, the things that I say and do can really impact this young man's life, this young lady's life. And when I had my own kids, I really started to see that a lot clearer. And what gets us up is, you know, I've seen countless kids already at Pittsburg that without football, I don't know where they'd be right now, but they're fixing to graduate with a 4-year degree, you know, from university and going to be successful. So it's developing the relationships with the kids and then seeing how important football is to their life and to their well-being, and understanding, you know what, I need to get up here and I want to help this kid, whether it's you know, preparing a weight workout for the day or structuring practice. How can I help our team be the best it can be, not just to win football games, but to help that young man understand that all the things we're teaching him are not just lip service. You know, they're not just fancy words that we can put, you know, around our field house, you know, commitment, dedication, sacrifice. Those things, yes, if you do them, they'll help us be a better team and we'll win some football games because of it. But if you can learn those lessons, you will be a successful young man, successful citizen, husband, father, and that's the true. That's why I get up in the morning. I love to win football games, and I love to compete. God made me that way. But if you just told me, well, it's just about the wins and losses and nothing else, then I wouldn't coach football. I'd do something else. I love to impact kids, and I saw my dad impact kids, and that's why I'm a coach today, because of what I saw him do and change lives in a young man's bad situation, or this happened, or, you know, he got his girlfriend pregnant and he didn't know what to do, and he showed up at her doorstep crying, and my dad was the only guy that he could, you know, and now I've got to experience some of that myself, and man, that's rewarding. And if we can win some football games, I think that's just a byproduct of teaching these guys how to be men. And, you know, aside from the military, and you know, kids aren't going out and having to, go with their dads and farm fields anymore, you know. So, you know, really the only place where you can cry, bleed, sweat, and learn how to physically power through something, the only place is athletics. And so in my mind, I see us on the front lines of our nation, teaching these young people how to be adults, specifically since I'm a football coach, teaching boys how to be men. And to me, there's no greater calling. I feel like I've been called to do this, and that's why I get up in the morning. And just like I tell these guys, I want to see them be men, but I am competitive. And if I do something, I'm going to do it as hard as I can, and I'm going to do the best of my ability. So we're going to try to win every single ball game we can. And it's fun when you get to do that, but I want to see these boys turn into men.
Amen. I love it. Coach Brad Baca, I want to thank you so much for sitting down with me and sharing a little bit of your story.
Well, Chris, thanks for having me. Love what you guys do. Appreciate the light that you shine in our profession, and that does not go unnoticed. You guys do a fantastic job.
Thank you. Hey, did you know that Lone Star Gridiron does mini helmets? Yeah, custom designed mini helmets that match your school. When quality and attention to detail are important, choose authentic Lone Star Gridiron mini helmets. Our library currently has hundreds of different Texas high school football teams. If you don't see your helmet, reach out to us about creating one. And hey, they make the coolest fundraisers for your booster clubs. Go to LoneStarGridiron.com and look for mini helmets on the top menu bar. Hey, once again, I want to thank Coach Brad Baca for sitting down, sharing a little bit of his stories. I also want to mention Nutrien Ag Solutions, one of the proud sponsors of this particular episode, and remind you to please go out and support all these sponsors. They are the people that make this show possible. Until next time, I'm Chris Daly. We'll see you at the game.